welcome to this Monday edition of the Sports 101 podcast. On this Monday edition of the Sports 101 podcast, we have a bunch of stuff to get into. One of the things that we are going to get into on this Monday is the Dallas Cowboys and their white and blue scrimmage and the fact that it was aired. I have a bunch of stuff to say about that. The other thing that we're going to talk about is college football and the Big Ten deciding to have their games start around Thanksgiving. We will also get into some basketball as the Dallas Mavericks get eliminated over the weekend by the LA Clippers. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Thank you for clicking. It's always appreciated if you are listening to this and you like what you're listening to. Please don't forget to go and hit that subscribe button if you're listening to this on YouTube. If you're listening to this on any other podcast platform, please don't forget to go and hit that follow button also if you like what you're listening to. As we get started on this Monday, I want to start by talking about the Dallas Cowboys and the fact that the white and blue scrimmage that was played yesterday, that the Dallas Cowboys had yesterday, was aired, and I have a bunch of stuff to say about that. I don't know why the Dallas Cowboys have to earn money in any way, shape, or form. I don't know a team that aired their scrimmages or their practices. I don't know anybody. Why? Why do you have to air it? What's the point of airing your white and blue scrimmage? And why do you have to have players wear white jerseys and blue jerseys without names or numbers? Look, the Dallas Cowboys had one advantage to beating the LA Rams, and that was the fact that we're not having any preseason games and the fact that the LA Rams don't have anything to watch, don't have anything to analyze on the Dallas Cowboys. But now, because of the white and blue scrimmage and the fact that it was aired, trust me, the scouts are going to watch that tape like there's no tomorrow. The head coach of the LA Rams is going to sit all night and watch that tape. That really made me mad. Why? Like, why do you have to air that? Why do you have to give that to a local TV station and air it? What's the point? Well, the point is to get some money. And Jerry Jones likes money. I don't get it. Why not just put their names and their numbers on their jerseys? You know who the players are. You know who the players are. So if you're going to air it on television for everybody to watch, for the Rams to watch, why not just give the players their names and numbers? Because anybody can know who they are without their numbers and their names. Because players have certain way of dressing, certain way of doing things. And if you've been watching football for a long time or for a few times, you know what players look like. You know what players act like, what they do. So you know, even without their numbers and their names being in the back of their jerseys, who they are. The Dallas Cowboys lost one of the advantages that they had going into the LA game, going into week 1, because Jerry Jones had to air the blue and white scrimmage. And that's why I will say here and now that the Dallas Cowboys will start the season 0-1. Don't come at me if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan. Don't do that. Don't do that. The fact that the Dallas Cowboys aired that white and blue scrimmage is just bad. It's just right out, flat out awful. And why? I don't get it. I don't get it. The Dallas Cowboys owner, Jerry Jones, doesn't care about winning. Because the LA Rams, as I said at the beginning of the show, the LA Rams are going to sit down and watch that game, watch that tape, analyze it. One of the biggest advantages that the Dallas Cowboys had was there is no tape, there is no preseason game, there is nothing. But they had to come out and air it. Was it good? Absolutely. Was it something to watch? Yes, it was. I'm just mad at the fact that the Dallas Cowboys had to give this to a local TV station and get some money. Even though the local TV stations that got this right to show this on TV didn't pay that much. But Jerry Jones had to get some money. You know he had to get some money. So that makes me mad. That makes me really mad. But when we come to what I saw on the field and how the players played, how the games were, what CeeDee Lamb did, what Ezekiel Elliott did, how the offensive line looked, I'm happy with that. I'm just not happy with the fact that it was aired. I'm just not happy with the fact that in the previous years, the white and blue scrimmage was not televised at all. And I will air the news conference that the Dallas Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy had, and he said this is a one-time thing. We are not going to air any other white and blue scrimmage again. But because of COVID-19 and the fact that preseason games are not being played and the Dallas Cowboys cannot get any money from the preseason games, Jerry Jones comes out and decides, hey, why don't I air the white and blue scrimmage for the first time ever and put my chances of winning the game that I have in week 1 against the LA Rams in jeopardy for some money. So that makes me mad. I'm mad at that. But what I saw on the field is beautiful. Here's the Dallas Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy news conference after the blue and white scrimmage.
The game drive.
Mike, with the opener 2 weeks away, how do you assess where the team is at the moment?
I would say we're on target. I think you have to be practical about, just the challenges that all of us have gone through. It's not, it's just not a normal year. So, you have a lot of measurables from my past experience being a head coach. You have measurables that exist from the past experience of the players here. We look at those each and every day. So I feel like I have a really good handle on where each player is that we have history with. You're obviously going through this for the first time with your young players, so you're going as you can. But the volume of work that I've stated in the opening statement, to get that much work done in 1 hour and 30 minutes means we're getting close. We're getting close to being ready for the Rams.
It looks as if you guys are limiting the number of snaps Amari's getting in practice. What's the thought process behind that?
Well, once again, there's all kinds of information that goes into those decisions, and that's a daily adjustment. I wouldn't read into it. Once again, we have the benefit of resources to make calculations and roll guys in and out of there. And at the end of the day, you're obviously trying to get ready schematically. You're trying to get your fundamentals in order. You're trying to hit the things from a technical standpoint you need to get done. And let's not forget, we're still evaluating our football team. From a personnel standpoint. Good.
Do you have any concerns about Amari Cooper's health?
No, I don't. No, not at all.
Was there value today in being able to evaluate your safety position after Xavier Woods exited?
Well, I think anytime younger players get more reps than they were probably slated to get, it's an opportunity for evaluation for those particular players. So, once again, I was really looking for quantity in a short period of time to hit the conditioning plan that we had here in place tonight. We accomplished that, and we wanted to get it probably 60% to 40% young players to the older players, and I feel like we accomplished that.
Mike, how would you describe your first time coaching the Cowboys here in AT&T Stadium?
It felt good. It actually felt really good to walk into the head coach's locker room. Brought back a lot of great memories. And actually, Jerry and I were sitting in there earlier having a few laughs. Well, I was laughing. It wasn't as good memory for him as it was for me. But no, this is a special place. My goodness, just to be able to walk around just to the different different facilities that I, obviously didn't take the time to do as a visiting coach, but what a masterpiece of a stadium. So very blessed to have the opportunity here to coach here.
Do you expect any of your injured guys to come back to practice this week? Don Lee, Cheeto?
I don't have an answer for you. So we'll see in the morning. Those guys are more, day to day or next couple. I don't have a specific timeline for both those guys.
We heard artificial crowd noise be pumped into practice for the first time. What was the thinking behind that?
Well, it's league mandated. They're trying to pull all the football ops criteria together for the regular season games. It seems like they're now settled on a decibel level. Excuse me, I'm so dry here. Level of noise. So I was kind of waiting to see exactly how loud it was going to be, and particularly the crowd noise that's going to be the same in every stadium. So that's a pretty accurate example of what to expect.
And what did you think of that level of noise and things along those lines?
I'm not a big fan of fake crowd noise, but there's a reason for it, and we'll be fine.
And on the numbers thing, Mike, going back to that briefly, is that kind of a one-off for this year, just based on all of these circumstances, or is that something you could do going forward? They've always put that blue-white thing on TV, as they call it, through the years in camp.
Well, did you guys enjoy it? I mean, we'll have to get the input from the fans and the media, see what Rich has to say. So maybe take a vote. But no, in my mind, it's a one-time deal. But I'm not opposed to doing it again. I kind of liked it. It brought back some good memories.
Why aren't you a fan of the fake crowd noise for practice?
Well, it's just not real. I don't know what you thought of it. It's just, you play in stadiums throughout your career, and some stadiums have really bad fake crowd noise, and some are better than others. So it's just, you do this long enough, you know what it sounds like. So it's just not the real thing.
You said the lack of numbers brought back memories for you, Mike. What? I can't help but wonder of what. What did that make you think back?
Just when you're playing football as a young kid, no names, no numbers, just guys out there, playing football. And once again, what I was looking for tonight, I was looking for a high quantity of volume of work, and we got that done. And I just like the look of it.
Do you have one more practice like this before you start preparing for the Rams on Wednesday, or will you actually do some work on the Rams tomorrow?
Well, we're kind of working on them just without talking about working on them. So I mean, we'll do some install things tomorrow. We'll be more in a competitive. Still, I still want to get some competitive work done because it's been so good for us. So we'll do more competitive than Ram work tomorrow, and then frankly. Wednesday morning we'll still do some competitive drills, and then we'll shift gears on Thursday.
Mike, you mentioned that one of your goals for tonight was just basically going through the routine of the pregame meal, the pregame bus drive. Did you give a pregame speech to the team, and if so, what did you say?
No, I didn't do a pregame speech. I really just wanted to get the pregame routines down for the players. I think that's really was the most important part of the pregame. Our actually pregame drills frankly, and we'll review it in the morning, but I think we'll have more correction in the pregame drills than we will in the actual practice. So there's just some things we need to tweak and adjust. And individual preparation before you even go out in the traditional place was my goal, just so guys can dial into their specific routines the day of the game, and then because once we came back inside after our pregame, it was a practice environment from my view.
Late practice, Noah Brown, at least I think it was Noah Brown, caught a touchdown. What kind of camp do you feel you've had at the back end of your wide receiver depth chart to be first spot there?
I think he's doing a heck of a job. Obviously coming off of obviously the potential that he showed coming out, and but he's doing a heck of a job. I don't think there's been a practice where he hasn't jumped up and made a play. So he's playing very well.
Mike, how much are you guys watching other teams' social media feeds, other reporters across the league, and trying to glean information from them that maybe you didn't want teams to glean from you guys tonight?
Well, I mean, we definitely have a process in place. Will McClay is leading that process, and that's frankly part of our reasoning for the white and blue shirts this evening with no numbers, because we're watching everything that we can get our hands on just to get a glimpse, and it's the COVID challenge this particular year that we're in. I mean, it's how you evaluate personnel around the league. So. But, that's a process that's in place.
Mike, you had Kellen down on the sidelines. And
healthy network on game day. Good? Okay. Thank you, everyone.
That was the Dallas Cowboys head coach, Mike McCarthy, talking about the white and blue scrimmage. Now, I want to say one or two things on the safety situation and the question, will the Dallas Cowboys get Earl Thomas? From what I've heard from Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, and Mike McCarthy now, I'm coming to a decision or a conclusion that the Dallas Cowboys are not interested in Earl Thomas at all. I don't know if the Dallas Cowboys talked to the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know if they're just not interested, or if they think their safeties are good enough or are better than Earl Thomas at this point. I don't know if age has to do something with it. But if you ask me, are the safeties that the Dallas Cowboys have good enough to handle good receivers that will hurt you? No, they're not. Look, some of the receivers out here are flat out great receivers. Receivers that will go to the Hall of Fame. I don't think Clinton Dix is good enough for some receivers on on the NFL teams. Nothing on him. He's just not that great anymore. We've seen it. We've seen him against the Bears. We've seen him against we've seen him with the Bears, and we've seen him on the Green Bay Packers. There is a reason why the Green Bay Packers let him go. There is a reason why he's not playing with the Chicago Bears now. So if you tell me you're confident on Clinton Dix's ability to cover receivers, I'm not buying it. Not buying it at all. I'm not. I do not know why, as I said in the beginning, why the Dallas Cowboys don't pick Earl Thomas. Look, Earl Thomas at this point is 10 times better than Clinton Dix. He's 10 times better. I don't know why they don't want to touch Earl Thomas at all. I don't know if Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones are pissed that they didn't get Earl Thomas from the Seattle Seahawks and he went to the Ravens. Or I don't know if they talked to the Ravens and the Ravens told them something that's not good. Something that's really bad. If Earl Thomas doesn't get picked up by any other team rather than the Dallas Cowboys, because at this point I am 100% sure that the Dallas Cowboys will not make a move when it comes to Earl Thomas. They will not. Just listen to the news conference that the head coach just gave. Go back and listen to it. That will tell you that the Dallas Cowboys are not interested. And if Earl Thomas doesn't get picked up by any other team, and the fact that the fact that he didn't get picked up by anybody else, there's no call for Earl Thomas. Nobody has called. Nobody. That is bad for Earl Thomas. I'm afraid that if the Dallas Cowboys don't call, or with 2 weeks left for the NFL season to start, if any other team don't call and the season gets started, Earl Thomas is done. Earl Thomas's career is finished. But he is a Hall of Famer. He is 10 times better than what the Dallas Cowboys have in their locker room right now. Now we're going to go ahead and air 106.7 The Fan and Stephen Jones's interview on 106.7 The Fan today.
Stephen Jones. Stephen is brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford, built for Texas, built for you. Sir, how are you this morning or this afternoon?
Doing good. Got a good scrimmage type situation in, or dress rehearsal for a game, which was great for Mike and our team to see how Mike leads that, and thought it went really well last night, and ready to move forward and start to really focus on the Rams.
Now, if it is a dress rehearsal for a game, how hard do you think the NFL will come down on you for not putting jersey numbers on any of the jerseys?
Well, I don't think they will at all. I think that was something that was, any team could do the way they wanted to do it. Obviously, we didn't have fans for all the reasons you can imagine, and at the same time, we didn't have numbers on there because it was on, parts of it were on TV, and we just really felt like it wasn't in our best interest to really identify our players as we move toward our cut down.
How much different is that aspect as opposed to previous years when you have preseason game after preseason game? How much different does that make that this year?
Totally different because, at the end of the day, these guys aren't, the 31 other teams, us included, and looking at 31 other teams, you're not getting access to see how those players are playing. So really all you have at the end of the day are any news reports out of their camps, and then what you had on the players coming out of college, and if they were professional players last year, what you had on tape from previous years, from their professional careers. So, it's an interesting time, and certainly everybody, I'm sure, trying to compete and figure out the best ways to put their 53 best players on their roster and their 16 practice squad players together as we move forward and get ready to tackle the upcoming season.
Man, Steven, that's interesting just because I know there's plenty of times where you guys cut down to 53 and then 5 hours later you cut a guy because another guy got released off a team that you really liked, whether it was preseason or that. That seems like that's going to be really tough to do this year, that once you get down to 53, you're looking at all the other cuts and really feeling like, man, we really like what this guy did.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just, it's this year. It's going to be different. It's unprecedented, and you have to embrace it at the end of the day. But you just never know why a player, even if they're veteran type players who you've seen on tape in previous years, you don't know how they're playing at the moment. What kind of shape they came into camp at. I mean, you don't know all the underlying circumstances that they may be out there. So. Anyway, it's very interesting times, but I think we're getting a good strategy. We're getting our hands around it and feel good about our football team for this year, and feel good about our 53 and how we're going to end up doing our practice squad.
By the way, I think per Jane Slater here, it says September 7th is the deadline for jersey numbers and names in practice. So I guess that's a loophole. Nice work, Mike McCarthy, on that one. Steven, can we talk a little bit about the safety position? How's Xavier Woods feeling today, and what's the future look like there?
Well, I hadn't gotten the report back. We felt pretty good about it yesterday. After he just kind of felt it a little bit, and but never felt the pop, and never lost strength in it. So, overall, we feel like we'll get a good report on that. But until we actually get the final MRI on it and examine him over the next day or two, we'll have a better feel for what we're doing there. We do have. One of the things we do have is we do have some flexibility, with some of our corners that we feel like can play safety. And, this day and time where coverage is at such a premium, that's a big deal for us, whether that's a Worley or a Cheeto. Of course, we moved our rookie Robertson back there. So, we've got some options there that we feel good about. But hopefully, in particular, Xavier's the leader of that group back there, serves on our senior leadership council, and guy we hope is going to be just fine.
We talk a lot about, the NBA moving more and more towards positionless basketball. Do you see any kind of change in terms of football too, where safeties and cornerbacks can bounce back and forth, maybe some defensive linemen can bounce inside and out? Do you see that sort of hybrid more and more at all?
Well, it certainly makes you more valuable on a roster if you can have that type of flexibility, corner safety flexibility. Like you said, a guy like Tyron Crawford can go in and play the 3 technique, and rush from there, but also play defensive end for us. And then offensive line flexibility is huge. We signed a guy, Cam Irving, who in the NFL has played center, guard, and tackle. I mean, that's a huge premium when you got guys who have flexibility. I know Knight for us, has practiced for us at guard and tackle, and feel like he could bump in there if need be. The 2 Connors, we feel like have some center flexibility. So, those are things that definitely increase your value as a player, if you have that type of flexibility. CeeDee Lamb's another example. I mean, he can play inside, outside, in terms of the slot or outside receiver. All those things make a player much more valuable to a team, if you can move around.
That being said, Sean Lee also, I'm kind of curious as to his program, what y'all are doing with him, and how this offseason or how this camp has gone for him.
Well, he's such a leader. He could put a whistle around his neck, put his coaching cap on, and roll if need be. But he's a great football player too. I'm not so sure he didn't play the best. In that last game, that he didn't play the best linebacking game of all our crew last year. So he's so valuable to us in terms of his leadership, in terms of how he works with the young guys, but also to have that there. Obviously, Jalen and Leighton are our starters, but as we move forward, we're in no rush to rush him back. And when we need him, I know he'll be there ready to roll for us.
Man, Steven, how pleased have you been with your team and then the NFL with all the negative coronavirus cases? Because just yesterday, the Oakland Athletics, they had to postpone their game because they had a player that has coronavirus. And so far, just kind of following the NFL, it looks like your players and I guess coaching staff are just doing a great job of not putting themselves in a tough situation.
Well, first of all, my hat's off to our medical group at the league office who spent countless hours. Jeff Miller and his crew, I think, really did an amazing job. They worked with the different competition committees, whether it's the main one, whether it's the GMAC committee, whether it's the Madden committee with coaches, really working on a plan that would, one, be a plan that you could play football, but two, be one that you could keep our players safe, our staff safe, our support staff safe. And I agree with you. It's just gone off amazingly. The testing's gone great. And you don't ever take it for granted because you never know when something's looming around the corner. But, I just feel like, we've really, played it forward in terms of all our different things that could pop up, which, in general, I think we still assume that, at some point we'll have our challenges. And that's why we've increased our practice squad. That's why we have some of these reserve lists that I think will be, so important to playing these football games. And, I think the coaches have accepted it, owners have accepted it, players certainly will see it. It's not always going to be competitively totally fair from week to week, depending on who might not be available, what coach might not be available. As we know, we have some teams without fans, some teams with fans. Some teams get to have crowd noise, the ones with fans don't. There's just hard to just do it like we've historically done it, and competitively even of a playing field as we can have, but we also recognize these are unprecedented times. Obviously, player safety, staff safety, fan safeties first and foremost, and we just feel good about that we're going to play our games and hopefully bring some content to our to the fans out there who've obviously been through a lot of struggles, whether it's business, whether it's personal, and hopefully this will give them a respite.
Along those lines, has there been any discussion, and if there was, and I'm sorry I missed it, about any kind of, since y'all are looking to have fans or are going to have fans, any kind of discount tickets or anything for some people who have been through rough corona times to help fill the stadium?
It's a great question. We hadn't really addressed that. We're so limited. We obviously have catered to our loyal season ticket members who've been with us year in and year out. And, this year they're going to be very limited on the number of games they get and how many times they can go to a game. And, we have probably more than most in terms of, fans that in spite of, some of the challenges that are out there want to attend our games. So, we're doing everything we can to accommodate our season ticket members and the people who are there for us year in and year out. But at the same time, we all know how important it is to, there's going to be countless stories out there and certainly places where we can all, those of us who have resources, more fortunate to help those who have struggled, in these unprecedented times.
Stephen Jones joining us here on the KNC Masterpiece on 105.3 The Fan. Stephen, I think we can all surmise that Amari, Michael, and CD are your top three receivers. I'm kind of curious with guys like Cedric Wilson, Ventel Bryant, Noah Brown. Has anybody separated themselves to make the rest of that group?
Yeah, I think there's a group there of, Noah Brown's really done a great job. He's shown up. I don't know how much y'all have been in practice. He showed up big time. Ced Wilson showed up. Those guys, probably at the end of the day have really separated themselves as the next tier. You mentioned Ventrell O'Brien who had an injury last night that we're looking at this morning as well, just as we are Xavier. So take a look at him. But then we've got a lot of young guys out there that, are going to push and, to get in for that sixth spot. And, So we'll see how that works itself out. We still got another big week of practice coming up, and we'll see. And, if somebody really steps up and deserves that sixth spot.
Stephen, the biggest story of camp so far for me.
Noise last night. You could hear that ball coming off his foot, but obviously he came highly recommended from the Rams, and we just think that we've really upgraded that spot, and he can win some games for us, which we all know this day and time with the with the rosters and how evenly matched these games are and how many games come down to that last. Give us some great opportunities to win some football games.
Steven, I'm going to stay on special teams here because a lot of Cowboy fans have asked this over the last couple of weeks since you guys have started training camp, and some people are excited about CeeDee Lamb returning punts, and some people are concerned just because of how valuable he could be as a wide receiver and putting him in a possible kind of injury situation. So where do you stand on CeeDee Lamb returning punts this year?
I think it's a great opportunity for him to touch the ball. We've had some great players return punts for the Cowboys, starting with Deion Sanders, and those guys are really good at their trade. I don't think it's as dangerous of a play as the kickoff in terms of the returner. I think those guys see, especially the great ones like Deion and certainly CD can be. They see all the traffic coming at them. They know when to fair catch it, when to get out of bounds, and when to go for it. So there's been a lot of great receivers in this league get back there and field punts and do a great job doing it. So I don't have a huge issue with it. There may be times where it's a punt safe and we put Sed Wilson back there or something like that. But I think you've got to, this day and time in this league, if you've got dynamic players, you got to give them opportunities to make plays in the open field.
Now, last thing I've got for you. Last week we talked about your favorite movie. This week, today is Major League Baseball's trading deadline. Is there anybody you would like to see your neighbors in Arlington wheel and deal on today? Because I know you're an expert at trades.
Well, I have a hard enough time keeping up with keeping the Cowboys in a good place. I certainly don't want to get into critiquing or trying to help our neighbors there. I do know this, driving out there, the landscape's changed. It changes every day out there, and what a beautiful stadium and a beautiful setup that is out there. And I know they're, fired up about ultimately getting their fan base back in that building and that brand new building, and it's going to be special. And hopefully, I know the Rangers are fired up about what their future holds. So I wish them nothing but the best of luck.
That's probably smart. If you would have answered that, I would have called JD for an immediate response about what you guys should do in training camp. So
no question.
I think you chose the right tactic. Thank you very much, Stephen. We'll catch up with you again next week.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
That was Stephen Jones on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. Let me say this much. I think the Dallas Cowboys are in a good place. But having the rookie wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, return punts, I don't think that's a good idea. I think with his ability as a receiver, I think that's a bad idea. Because if he gets injured, and this is nothing against Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is a great wide receiver. But to have CeeDee Lamb and his speed and his ability to play the slot, I don't think he should be returning punts. I do not think he should be returning punts at all. That's my idea. That's what I think. You guys may have a different idea. You may think that having him return punts is a good thing, will give us some advantages, but I don't really think that's going to happen. I think having him return punts is going to put him in a situation where he could get injured. But that was my idea. I don't think this is a good thing to do. as we stay in the NFL, the Jaguars, I mean, released their running back, Leonard Fournette, getting ready to get Trevor Lawrence from college. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think releasing a running back to get a college quarterback that may not play football this year, depending on what the college conferences decide, even though the only college conference that say that they're not going to have football is the Big Ten, and we'll talk about that later on at the end of the show. But I don't think releasing your running back, even though you're going to pay him big money, is a good idea. I think he would have been a good help if you want to get Trevor Lawrence. He would have been a good compliment for Trevor Lawrence, but I don't think releasing Leonard Fournette and his talents was a good idea. But the Jaguars have released Leonard Fournette. As we change course and talk about the NBA, and the Dallas Mavericks got eliminated yesterday, but if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, you should be happy on what you've seen from your rookie. He was able to take over a game and help the Dallas Mavericks win a game in the series, but I think the LA Clippers were a better team than the Dallas Mavericks, and it was clearly shown over the last two games. And even though the Dallas Mavericks were not able to advance to the next round, I think this is a great start for them. I understand that as a fan, we may not be happy. We may be devastated, to just say it. But I think the fact that the rookie showed us something by being able to lead, by being able to try to come back and save the series and try to advance to the next one, is a good sign that the Dallas Mavericks are turning the corner. Here's the Dallas Mavericks head coach after the loss yesterday.
At Chime, we're making banking better for everyone, because financial peace of mind should be for people of all kinds. Chime helps people who help, who hoop, MCs of the roots, like me, cooks who flip flapjacks, whatever your zodiac, Chime's got your back. Chime's making banking better for everyone.
Yeah, Coach, I know it's still fresh, but just want to get your takeaways from the game and the season. Your honor leader a couple minutes ago. This is just the beginning.
Well, I'm in full agreement with that. It's a tough series, for a lot of reasons. We're down some of our guys, which, those kinds of things are going to happen. But today, the way that our guys fought and competed, through all the ups and downs of the game, was something that could make all Mavs fans proud. It makes our organization proud. And we got a lot of great experience from being down here and being in the playoffs. It's a different experience without the fans. This morning we talked about the fact that, for a normal Game 6, we'd be going home to 20,000 people. And we'd have a real advantage there, and we were going to have to find the energy, amongst our family that's here, to fight and to give ourselves a chance. And they did. They fought as hard as they possibly could. Everybody was into it. And, you hate to lose, but the effort was phenomenally good.
Renee, we're done in the room, so go ahead with Zoom.
Okay, Tim McMahon. Rick, I'm sorry I'm coming in a little late, so you might have been asked this, but what, if anything, did you learn about Luka during this series?
Well, look, he's one of the toughest players that I've ever seen in this league, and that goes back 35, 36 years. He's a great young player that is getting better each year. I mean, he's Rookie of the Year last year, and this year he's up for Most Improved. I mean, I'd like to know if that's ever happened before. And so I expect that, he'll come back next year even better, with something new in his game, the same way that Bird and Magic and Jordan and all those great players did every summer. The summer's a little different. Now it's going to be a fall and, whenever we reconvene as a league again. But, he has an irrepressible enthusiasm for the game, for his teammates, and for winning. And, today, I mean, it was hard getting him out of the game. Second half, we didn't do it until the very end. And so, I don't know. We're so fortunate to have him. And, now we've got to get our roster completely healthy and keep working to get the right players around him.
Okay, Matt Engel.
Rick, do you feel like you guys had a great season? I know it didn't end the way you want, but considering you haven't been in the playoffs since 15, you have two great players. Do you feel like you had a great year nonetheless?
I feel like we had a very productive year, and a lot was accomplished. It's hard to put your hands around everything at this particular moment. Getting back to the playoffs is very significant. Being 11 games over 500 in the regular season is significant. We didn't win a lot of games in the seeding games, but we went through some great experiences. We went through 3 or 4 overtime games, and that got us, ready to play the Clippers. And this series was, it was like a lot of playoff series. It was up and down. I mean, Porzingis gets ejected 3 minutes into the third quarter of Game 1. We win Game 2 wire to wire. Game 3, Luka goes down with the ankle, and we end up losing by 8. Game 4, the team showed its resilience in a huge way. Getting down 21, then battling back, having a lead, getting to overtime, and then finding a way to win at the end. And Luka, put the team on his back in that game. Game 5 is really the only game I'm really disappointed in. And you're going to occasionally have a stinker in the playoffs where the other team plays great, and you just don't have your night, just don't have a good night. But today, after being here 50-some days and going through everything that everyone went through this week, and being down, not only KP, but Powell and Brunson, not having Cauley Stein, it would have been easy for our guys to just fold up, and they didn't. They refused to do that. They fought their butts off the entire game. I thought Jamal Mosley had a great defensive plan. He just kept mixing things up and kept us aggressive. And Clippers would go on a run, and we would stay right in their faces and make a quick run back at them. And then they pulled away at the end, but. We bent, but we didn't break, in this game, and I was proud of that.
Okay, 2 more, Dan Wilkie.
Right after Game 5, you kind of expressed some disappointment in Marcus Morris and the play he had with Luka. Obviously, those two guys again tonight. Well, what did you see in that play, and should he have been on the court? I guess after what happened the game before.
Look, the play speaks for itself, and to get into speculation about the previous games, it's all stuff you gotta ask the league about that. I mean, they looked at it, as soon as this play happened in real time, I knew he was getting ejected. I knew it was a flagrant 2. It's just an unnecessary play, and unfortunate.
Okay, and the last one is going to be Landon.
Hey, Coach. We have that town earlier this year say that you guys are a couple seasons away. I want to see what your thoughts about that is. A couple seasons from a championship.
Well, we're on the climb, and you never know the exact timing of things like that. But that's our passion. That's our obsession. It's shared by the guys in the locker room. It's an arduous climb, to get back in the playoffs. We matched up probably against the most physical and most talented team in the entire league. And it was a difficult series, but it was the kind of experience that we needed. And so there are a lot of bright things that came out of this season, and there's going to be great optimism for the future. As I said a moment ago, we've got to get our roster completely healthy, and we got to keep building the roster around Luka and KP, and keep adding pieces that fit around those two guys, so that as we move forward, we can continue to grow the team. That's really the most important thing. Thank you.
That was the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks after the loss and elimination of the Dallas Mavericks over the weekend. And here's Kawhi Leonard on the win.
Good. Great. We'll start off with Andrew, right?
Yeah.
Kawhi, Doc mentioned that he felt like when you watched you perform today, it looked like you were the one guy who knew what it took to close out a series. Curious, what's your experience in big series? How does that factor in how comfortable you felt in the second half as you go today?
I guess just, being here before, you know what I mean? Just knowing it's going to take the 48 minutes. I always say it, but just playing even keel out there. I thought, we played pretty well in that first half. Then we went in with about a 6-point lead. So it was about starting that third quarter. And, we got the lead up. And then, you just got to keep fighting. This playoff basketball, everything is not going to go your way. You're going to have downs and ups, and just got to keep playing.
You good. Hey, Kawhi. We haven't spoken to you since Wednesday's emotional players meeting. Doc thought it was really good of you to talk to the players and deliver kind of like a calm sense of demeanor. I was wondering what your message was to the players, and did you think that the season was going to end after that meeting?
I didn't know, really what to think at that point. I didn't think, pretty much the whole league didn't want to stop playing. Just told them we can't control what's going on outside. All we can control is what we're doing, on and off the floor. And, just take it one message at a time. If you want to, change the, racial injustice or whatever you want to do, in education or group economics, it's just up to the individual to try to change my mind off the floor. So, we stay steady.
Move over to Taylor Brooks.
Hey, Kawhi, so second round of the playoffs, what do you need more of from your team? What do you need less of?
Just got to focus. That's what we got to do. Less mistakes, for sure, and more execution. But we never know until we see what team we're playing or how we need to play.
Mark Medina.
Kawhi,
to Doc's point of phrasing of how it's calm under pressure, what's been key to being able to still have that mindset even in this environment with what's not only going on in the world, but all the adjustments that the bubble entails?
It's difficult. The most fun you have is coming out here. Is playing in a basketball game, but it's hard to unlock and live your everyday life. But kind of been here before, going through rehab or just gym home, and it kind of feels like that. But just focus on the goal. That's all you can do. Take it one day at a time.
Miriam?
Congrats, man. Tell me sort of about your steadiness. Do you feel that sort of affect your teammates when you're out there? Like you kind of bring down their energy because they're on energy?
No, not at all. I mean, I've been the same player my whole career, and I've been fortunate enough to get to where teams want to get to and win it. So I don't think it affects them at all. If anything, it helps. If you see how I'm playing, I'm bringing energy to the floor.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like you're bringing like a positive energy and sort of your demeanor sort of gets them to push through with the playoffs.
At times I try to be positive, for the majority of the game, unless somebody's making a mistake over and over, then I, kind of get out of character or, want them to do better. But, for the most part, one mistake, I'm just talking through it and trying to do better. The next possession, when the team does run a certain action, and try to fool us again. That's all it's about. You can't get too mad. Can't get overly excited. Like I said, you can't control shots. Everybody wants to make baskets, and sometimes they just don't go in for you.
Time for a couple more. Farmont.
Hey, Kawhi, Doc had mentioned that these were the playoffs of Zubac's life, and Zubac kind of joked it was, the only playoffs of his life. What did you see from him and how he was able to close out the games later in the series?
It was a big series for him. He was able to contest those shots when Luka got in the paint or when he's trying to shoot those threes, kind of making him think about it a little bit more than him coming down very comfortable and laying the ball up. He had to go against a 7-footer. And, he helped us out big time. The numbers might not always show it, but his defense was amazing. And him running the floor on offense, finding his spots in that dunker spot and laying the ball up, making his free throws, it was very big.
And over to Tom there.
Congratulations on the series win. How do you, go about in terms of celebrating? Obviously, this is worth celebrating and getting through, but there's been some stuff made about guys like Pat and Trey celebrating on the bench. How do you go about celebrating? Do you celebrate this, or do you just put this aside and move on to the next round?
You always celebrate. You could be going home right now, so it's one step closer to where we want to get to. So it's a good accomplishment. We got off the first round, and now it's we enjoy it tonight, and we get ready for the next team tomorrow. And that's how it pretty much is in the playoffs. But you can always enjoy a win. You never want to take that away. Or I don't know why we playing.
Thanks. I think we have a follow-up from Taylor, and that's what we have time for.
Okay, so obviously this means more time in the bubble. We have heard players here and also some of your teammates talk about any effect that the bubble has had on them mentally. Has it had any effect on you just being in this secluded place?
For sure. I mean, you're not able to see family. You're doing the same thing every day. You know what I mean? It's kind of feels like you can't get away from the game. But like I said, I kind of been here before going through rehab. So, dealing with my knee injury, it was basically going to the gym rehab and going home. It wasn't going outside. So, you just gotta, your family is their teammates are your family. So you just gotta spend time with them, try to get outside with them, and laugh and joke, and really just don't take it so serious. Just one day at a time. That's it.
Thank you.
That was Kawhi Leonard on the win, and the Clippers get to move on to the next team in the second round. Now, the last thing I want to talk about on this podcast is going to be college football and the Big Ten's decision to have their season start around Thanksgiving time. For me, anytime that I get to watch football, I don't care if it is NFL or college football, it's a good thing. I think college football and the NFL is a very, very important thing for our society. But for me, the Big Ten had to make this decision. The Big Ten had to make this decision because when the Big Ten, in the previous days, when COVID-19 started, decided that they are not going to have games in their conference and teams are not going to play football, but the Big Ten was the only conference that decided not to have games. And that was not a good thing. The parents were not happy. The deans of the teams that were in the Big Ten, that are in the Big Ten conference, were not happy. So there was a protest. There was a bunch of movements by the parents and the players to have the Big Ten decide to start their games, start their seasons in the fall around Thanksgiving. I understand that. I understand the fact that the players were pissed off, the fact that the players were not happy, the fact that the parents were not happy. Because look, if you're a college football player at this time in this situation, you need that games. You need those games because you only have last year's tape, and if you didn't do well last year, your capital, your stack when it comes to being drafted in the NFL goes down, and you do not want that. And the Big Ten, look, I think this was a hard decision for them to make because the parents were about to sue. The parents were pissed off. The players were not happy. The Big Ten was thinking about starting the season before they decided not to have a season, and now they're back saying that they're going to have a season. But when they decided not to have a season and start their games in the spring, they say that they were going to adjust the schedules and probably start in the spring, which doesn't make any sense to me. But it's good we're going to have some kind of college football in the fall. College football should have started by now, but because of the times that we're in, the games that were scheduled are obviously postponed. The Big Ten, as I said before, will start their season around Thanksgiving. Will they change their mind? We will see. But I'm happy that we're going to have a season, that we're going to watch some kind of college football. And if you're a college football fan and you're not into the NFL, and you don't want to watch NFL games, you at least have a college football to watch. Now, the question is, will the college football conference, the Big Ten, be forced to start their season even earlier than around Thanksgiving? I think they are. I think they're going to have to move the starting date even forward, even closer, because the other conferences like the ACC, the SEC are having to start their season before Thanksgiving. The question is, will the Big Ten move their start date even closer, or will the other conferences start their season around Thanksgiving to work with the Big Ten? That's the question that will be asked until this thing gets figured out. We will see what's going to happen. Thank you for listening. Thank you for clicking. It's always appreciated. This has been the Sports 101 podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for clicking. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this podcast. If you are listening to this on YouTube and you like what you're listening to, please don't forget to go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more. It will help us a bunch. And if you're listening to this on any other podcast platform, please don't forget to go ahead and hit that follow button as well. Thank you for listening. Thank you for clicking. This has been the Sports 101 podcast for Monday, August 31st. We will start our new podcast tomorrow on September 1st.